Hi there. So if you're watching this video, you're probably already familiar with OpenStreetMap as a fantastic source of openly licensed mapping data that can actually be incredibly detailed and incredibly useful. But if you want to work with the raw data, then downloading it from the OpenStreetMap website and getting it into GIS software can be more than a little bit of a faff. So thankfully within QGIS, we have a number of plugins that can help us with the task. And in this video, I'm going to show you my favorite, which is the QuickOSM plugin, which I think is the quickest and simplest way to get hold of raw QGIS data to use in your maps and analysis. So to get it set up, we go to Plugins, Manage and Install Plugins, and if you go to All, if you just type in OpenStreetMap, you can see there's actually quite a few plugins that make use of or refer to OpenStreetMap. Incidentally, if you're interested in calculating routes or travel times or catchment areas, check out my video on the ORS Tools plugin, which makes use of the OpenStreetMap routing layer. But for now, we're going to jump down to QuickOSM. I've already got it installed, but if you don't have it, you just need to click the Install Plugin button, and within a few seconds, you'll have it added to your QGIS setup. So if we close the Plugins window, you can either find it under the vector menu, QuickOSM, or by simply clicking on the green spyglass icon, which should have appeared on your toolbar. So when it opens up, it takes you to the Quick Query window. Most of the time, this is all you're going to need to work with to be able to download the data that you need. And it's worth noting that this is very easy to use. There's no need to kind of create an account or log in. You can simply download the plugin and download the data. So the OSM database is huge. There's all kinds of different features in there. So in order to help you out a little bit, the creators of this plugin have put together some preset queries. And when I say some, a huge number of preset queries that cover everything from kind of buildings, building types, craft types, shops, facilities, pretty much you name it, it's in here somewhere. Thankfully, we can search this list by simply typing in the preset window. So I've chosen an area on my map here which contains St Paul's Cathedral in London, which is famous for its domed roof. So just to kind of create a small query, which also demonstrates some of the depth of data that's available within OpenStreetMap, I'm going to type dome in here and download data on buildings with a roof type of dome. We need to tell it what the spatial extent of our query is. So we can actually use OpenStreetMap's own gazetteer and type in the name of a town or village. But I'm going to use the canvas extent, so the extent currently shown on my screen. We can also use the extent of an existing layer, which is useful in a lot of instances. So I'm going to limit it to the canvas extent. You can see it's dropped the query into the window just here for me using the preset. I'm then going to hit Run Query, and within a few seconds, it should have identified and downloaded the features that I need. It's worth noting that this plugin uses something called the Overpass API, and there is a data limit on how much can be pulled down in a single query. So if you want to download detailed data for a large area, you probably are going to have to break it up into sections, or ideally identify the features that you need and actually kind of download specific subsets of data within that larger area. Otherwise, you will get an error message saying that the query is timed out. So if I close this down, you can see that I now have two layers for roof-shaped dome. One is a polygon layer, and actually that contains a dome on the roof of the Central Criminal Court over here. And as a line feature, which I'm going to change the color of because it's not showing up very well. Let's change that to a nice red color. We can see that we actually have the dome on St Paul's Cathedral marked out here. So we have the main dome and also two smaller domes. And they're now in our project. We can export those, we can edit them, and use them in whatever other analysis we want to carry out. And just to demonstrate what a slightly bigger query might look like, I downloaded earlier some of the route data. So this contains, routes and relevant routing points within this section of London. And again, if we look at the attributes table, there's actually a huge amount of information behind these data sets. How much is populated is going to depend on what's been put in. So you can see this point layer contains things like crossings, traffic lights, and various other features that make sense to be stored as points. But yeah, there you go. Within just a few seconds, we've been able to identify and download OpenStreetMap data for use within our project. Just a note in terms of some of the kind of values that might be most useful if you don't want to use the preset queries. Keys are kind of broad categories, and some of the most useful ones I've found are amenities. So that includes everything from animal boarding facilities to hospitals to schools to ATMs. We also have buildings, which unsurprisingly contains multiple types of building. And further down the list, we have the route key, which again will allow us to identify various types of route. And we can construct more complex queries, so we can identify features that map multiple categories using AND, or we can also create OR queries if we want to pull down multiple types of features in a single query. So there you go, that's the QuickOSM plugin, and as I say, in my mind that's the quickest and easiest way to obtain OpenStreetMap data for use in our QGIS project. If you found that useful, please do like and subscribe, and keep your eyes peeled for more videos in the future. Thanks a lot.